Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today we are in Koh Lanta. Yes guys, we have travelled down to Koh Lanta from Phuket, and our chosen transport for the day is a Honda PCX 150. We've travelled about 280 kilometres from Phuket to Koh Lanta, and it's taken us approximately 5.5 hours, stopping along the way for refreshments, etc. Visitors to Koh Lanta need to catch the ferry from the mainland across to the island. You need to get a ticket before you enter the ferry terminal, which can be purchased from the booth on the left hand side as you're coming down the main road. The cost of those tickets are 5 baht for the motorbike and 20 baht per person, so a total of 45 baht for one-way trip. The trip normally takes between 10 and 15 minutes on the ferry, so it's not too long. Travellers who are visiting Koh Lanta via an organised trip, if you wish to hire a motorcycle or a car, there are plenty of places on the island, and prices normally start from about 150 baht upwards for a small cc scooter, and that's per day. Well guys, we've just arrived at the hotel in Koh Lanta, and very nice it is too. It's right by a 7-Eleven, so that's really good. Got a little balcony, sit outside of the front. Wasn't expensive, less than 1,000 baht a night. And we are in the old part, or the old town of Koh Lanta. Very happy with the accommodation. It was just one that I picked at random off agoda.com. Hi guys, well we are at Saladan. It's just a small place. We're starting our trip here. It's very quiet in the mornings, I've noticed, in Koh Lanta compared to Phuket. Not too many people around. It was quite difficult for us to find somewhere to have breakfast this morning. A lot of places not open. It seems like the pace of life starts very late here in the mornings, but we have managed to find a small cafe in Saladan called Saladan's Cafe, and we've had a little bit of breakfast, and now we're going to go and take a trip around the island. And Saladan being the main part of Koh Lanta, we're going to journey down the west side of Koh Lanta where all the beaches are. We're actually staying in the old town of Koh Lanta, which is very quiet in the morning. Just coming down to the beach now area in Saladan. Actually trying to find where it is. Hopefully we're going the right way. Well, this looks like the beach at Saladan, and it looks very beautiful here. Plung Jark beach is approximately 5 minutes from Saladan town. Quite surprised, it's quite busy this morning, and it's still quite early. So I'm just looking for a spot where I can take the drone up. Okay, time to move on down the west coast. Well guys, we've just stopped at the Wild restaurant in Plung Jark area of Lanta. We are now following the main road down the west side of Koh Lanta, making our way down towards the national park at the bottom. Lovely little spot just to take in some refreshment. They've got some wooden seating right on the edge of the beach, and also a raised area upstairs where you can have some food. I've had a quick look at the menu and they do most things on there, both Thai and European food. Plung Jark Waterfall, Koh Lanta. We've come to the only waterfall on Koh Lanta. We're just making our way down to it now. It's about 1 kilometre along a dirt track. You have to park a motorbike up and then walk the rest of the way. I wouldn't advise people to come up here in a car. The road leading up is quite bumpy and full of potholes. It's quite bad. You can get a scooter up there. So we're just going to have a wander up and see what the waterfall's like.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
see, guys, it's a bit of a trek through some of the jungle here to get to the waterfall. I didn't realise it was like this. I'm actually wearing flip-flops. Not a great idea to get over these, so it's worth bearing that in mind if you're going to come and visit here. Maybe wear some more appropriate footwear. Okay, we've got a little bit of a snake there in the tree. Clear, you can see that.
This is not a drill.
Well, we've just come to a fork in the road, so to speak. No signs whatsoever, so we're unsure which way to go, whether it's left or right. Some people in front are going left. We're not quite sure whether that's the right way because there are no signs at all telling you which way to go to the waterfall. Okay guys, well, I've just stopped and asked somebody because it's very confusing there at the end of the track. You come to like a T-junction, you can go left or right, and I've just been informed that if you go left it takes you to the caves, and if you go right it takes you to the waterfall. You can hear some water now finally, after walking along this trail for what seems a lot further than 1 kilometer. It's very, very badly signposted. Well, I say badly signposted, there is no signs to tell you which direction to go in, and the trail in the jungle sort of splits off quite a few times, and it's very confusing. If there's nobody here around to ask, then you can easily get lost. I would say you need to be really keen to get to this waterfall because it's certainly not an easy place to access. I definitely would not recommend flip-flops, and I would not recommend attempting to get here after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because once it gets dark it would be an absolute nightmare trying to find your way out of here. Well guys, we've just arrived at the waterfall, but as you can see there is not a lot of water. Obviously come at the wrong time of the year. Really, to get the benefit of this, I would say you need to come when the rains have been just finished or are just starting, because as you can see there's not an awful lot of water running down, which is a bit of a shame. And we are well and truly in the middle of the jungle in Koh Lanta. Very steep tracks coming out. As I say, I wouldn't recommend this for somebody that's got any issues with walking whatsoever. I wouldn't attempt it after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because it's not a place where I would want to be when it gets dark. Definitely bring yourself appropriate footwear and not flip-flops, even though the guys, when you first pull up into the car park in the refreshment stands, they are saying that it's fine. I definitely would not recommend this in flip-flops. You really need trainers or hiking shoes or some sort of suitable shoes. A few things to bear in mind is once you start down the track, it says it's roughly 1 kilometer from the car park. It felt a lot further than 1 kilometer, I'll be honest with you. It's very confusing on which way to go to the actual waterfall. There's a few tracks that split off in different directions, no signs whatsoever. So from what I understand, there's a couple of the trails lead to the caves and a couple of the trails lead to the waterfalls. It can get a bit disconcerting if there's no people around. Okay, we're just trying to decide on which way we should go back, whether we should follow the stream that's running down from the waterfall. We've sort of a few people walking down that way. Again, like I say, it's not that well signposted. The track that we've just come up was quite hard work, to be honest with you. So we're looking for an easier way. Certainly an adventure, that's for sure. Well, it looks like we've ended up at the caves anyway. We're trying to find our way back. As I say, it's there's no signs or anything, so we're just sort of following what trails there are. Okay guys, this is what I mean about here. We've just come down from that direction, no signs whatsoever, and then you've got another trail leading off that direction and that direction. So this is the only thing you have to be careful of here, and that's why I wouldn't recommend coming late in the afternoon, because once it gets dark it could be very disconcerting to try and find your way out of here. It really is guesswork. There's that many trails. We've got one in front of us now by the river or stream, whatever you want to call it, and then there's another one here. Working out which one to take is definitely a bit of a nightmare. Well guys, we made it out of there and we're just walking back up to the car park now. As I say, a few things to be aware of. I would definitely not wear flip-flops if you want to go to that waterfall. Just bear in mind that the trail is quite misleading. There's no signs whatsoever. So don't leave it too late in the day to go, because it would be quite easy to get lost in there, I'm sure of it. Now, it was a bit underwhelming, the waterfall. Unfortunately, I think we've picked the wrong time to go. We really need to go either just before or just as the rains are starting, or just after they've finished. And I'm guessing that it will look quite amazing. But today there was only a small amount of water. Okay. Just left the waterfall and the caves. We're making our way back towards Koh Lanta Old Town. Some lovely little places to stop and have a drink and watch the world go by. Heading now for Plung Jark, I think how you pronounce it, which is one of the more major tourist spots on Koh Lanta. It's where most of the tourists head there, and Saladan. Okay, we're just coming into Plung Jark, as I've been told it's pronounced. Is one of the more touristy places on Koh Lanta. If you're coming to Koh Lanta and you want to rent a scooter, there's plenty of places to rent from, and it's a good way to see the island for sure. But I would give a word of warning, the roads are not great over here. They're very bumpy and a lot of potholes, so just bear that in mind when you're riding the scooters. Take your time, because the roads can be very dangerous here. Can see in front now. This road is very bad there. Ooh. So it's a good way to get to see the island. You can ride around the whole of the island in less than a day on a scooter quite easily. You don't have to rush around. It's not a great big island, Koh Lanta, and it's quite nice to have a ride around on the scooter, find a few secluded beaches. As I said before, we're staying in Koh Lanta Old Town, which is actually quite nice. It's a little bit quieter. There isn't so many restaurants and bars, but there's enough. I wanted something a little bit different to Phuket, as Phuket can be very busy at times. So the Old Town suits me very well for this trip. Well guys, we're in Koh Lanta Old Town, just coming down to the main part of the town. A few shops and bed and breakfast is there. Small accommodation. It's not a big area. It's quite small. I noticed last night it's not very busy. There's a few bars, restaurants, but only a few, and it seems to be very quiet in the evening time, very relaxed. Not too many people around. But if you're looking for something a little bit quieter, then maybe this is suitable. As I say, there's some small accommodation houses, guest houses I suppose you would call them. A few restaurants, not a great choice. We were struggling this morning for breakfast to find somewhere because it doesn't seem to be that they open very early here. In fact, I would say they probably don't, the place doesn't get going until 10 o'clock in the morning. We actually have to go outside of the old town, over to the west side of Koh Lanta where the beaches are, to find somewhere to have breakfast. Now, having said that, there's a reasonable amount of shops for souvenirs and things. Well guys, that's all I have for you on this episode. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you've not already, the button's down below. Until next time, catch you later.